we are headed to our second stop in our series in Los Angeles. The first was an awesome fish store, CK Fish World, but we have something special coming up today. So we're doing a private home tour of a complete legend in the hobby, one of the best cichlid breeders there's ever been, and he has a massive display tank. He has 2 cichlid houses, and we're gonna see some incredibly rare species in cichlids. I cannot wait to show it. Let's go. Okay, so this is a very special video today. We are with the legend, longtime cichlid breeder, been in the hobby for decades, John Nieman. We are going to be checking out, what are we checking out today? Your Cichlid House?
My fish room, hatchery.
Along with this, which is a 1,000-gallon tank.
1,000-gallon tank, 4
Yes.
by 4 by 8.
So let's talk about this first before we go and see all those incredible cichlids in there. This is a 1,000-gallon tank?
Yes, yes.
And,
Approximately, a little less.
And what are the fish?
Those are mascara barbs or filamentosas. There's 3 silver dollars. There's about 20 clown loach in that monster right there in the corner.
Ooh, what is that guy?
You know what starts with an A? I can't remember the name. I always forget the name. I got to write it on here. I always forget him. But that's a wild guy out of Peru.
Gotcha.
He gets like 3 foot. So, but I'm not overfeeding him, so he's staying relatively small.
And so you have really big filamentosa barbs, and the clown loaches are a really good size too.
Yes.
So you just really love the schooling fish in here?
Correct. It's just a busy tank. I like, it's just nice, but
and
not for breeding. Although they do breed. You see the one little baby there?
Yeah.
I don't know why there's just one, but that's it. See the clown loach here. There's 20 of them in there. Yeah. And if you look, you think there's only a few. But they all come out when I feed, of course. But they're a little nervous. That one looks pretty fat.
Yeah. And tell us about the tank itself. It's built into the wall?
It's built on a metal stand with a 100-gallon sump with 4 Marineland bio-oils in the sump, filtering it. Through the overflow box with 2 sponges in there as a pre-filter. Then I have a bulkhead there as a drain. Goes in the garage, and I run the hose out to the front, water the plants with it. And then I drag the hose from the fish room through that window to fill it back up, which takes about a half hour. And behind this is a closet with 3 solar tubes lighting this.
Yeah, so explain what those are again.
They are like skylights. They're a tube that goes up to the roof with a dome on the roof, and it's all aluminum inside. It reflects the light down. When I first had the guy come out and do it, the tank wasn't here. And then I realized there was a dead spot in the center, and I put the tank in. I realized there was a dead spot. So I had him come back out to put the other solar tube in, and he had to get in the tank to put the solar tube in. And he thought it was the funniest thing ever because he was installing it standing inside the tank.
So you get real natural light.
Real natural light, yes.
And for a 1,000-gallon tank, that's pretty cool, not only to have that natural aspect, but not to have to spend money on big lights.
Lighting. The only thing going is the little sequence motor pumping water back up in here into the 100-gallon sump.
And this is how you do it. You have an awesome display tank to enjoy, and then you have your working cichlid house outside.
Much working. Yes. The work is out there. This is fairly easy. I just have a big magnet that goes in and out, clean this, and do a big water change. But
Absolutely
other than that,
beautiful.
it's low maintenance, this thing.
Yeah.
I used to get in there. To clean it, but now it's just too hard getting out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this is an awesome display tank, and now I think we should go check out all of the fish you
We should
have.
go see some more fishies.
Now to the Cichlid House.
Yes.
So we are here in your fish house. Tell us a little bit about this.
This snowballed probably early 90s, late 80s. All my fish tanks used to be in the house, and my wife's cousin was out of work. He came over one day and said, "Would you like me to build you a fish room?" And my wife goes, "Great. Does that mean we can get all the tanks out of the house?" So that's what we did. I let him build this building, and it snowballed from there.
Just so we're kind of away from the
From the noise, from the airport.
Yeah. So as we're walking, this is just one of the aisles. How many tanks would you say you have here?
In both buildings, about 190.
190. And you said this was a build-on whenever you wanted to
The
get...
back room was built 7 years after this one was built.
Awesome. So you've been doing this for a while.
Long time. Yes, I'm very old.
And you have a focus on cichlids. Is there any reason for that?
That's what I started with, basically. Basically Malawi and Tanganyika. And then I decided, you know what? I just like fish, so I keep a little bit of everything now.
Yeah.
But I keep all the fry on the top tanks, mainly. All the breeders at eye level. And all the stuff I really don't care about it are in bottom tanks. Because no one likes to bend over.
Yeah, so you can see you have a ton of fry.
I have a ton of fry.
So
all different sizes.
I don't even know where to start. Do you have anywhere you want to like...
Well, I mean, they're just, the most common here, Lulupi, of course. And then here's some pretty rare Xena tilapia flavipennis. These are pretty cool. And I got some, right here is little albino Cyphochromis catumba, which is not too common.
Yeah. So,
and I just starting up new groups here. This is going to be future breeders of powder blue ventralis and some flavipennis. Then I got one small spawn of my Rampochromis macrothelmis, which are in here. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to keep them going because right now I'm basically just breeding the Rampochromis etsox.
Yep.
But this is a bigger one, big predator fish.
Yeah. So do you have them categorized in any way throughout the fish store?
No,
it's just whatever you could...
Only I know where stuff goes.
I like that you labeled them, though.
Some of the stuff that, because I have Katoomba, I have Blue Flash, and I also have Microlepidotus.
Yeah.
So I got to mark them because they're very, very similar.
Then here you have some really good-looking Tanganyikans.
These are just a Lulupi, common Lulupi, with some black compressiceps.
And you said you've been able to breed the compressiceps as well?
Yes, I breed right here. Here's a whole tank of fry.
Yeah. I've heard that they're...
they're touchy.
They're one of the more difficult to breed?
Yeah, they're slow growing. Mm-hmm. And they're the canary in your cave. If there's something wrong with your water, they're the first to go because they're very touchy. This is more Lulupi common.
Yeah.
Here's some I'm growing up for future breeders. These will be ready for sale soon.
And so when you have big spawns and you grow them up to a sellable state, do you ship them to wholesalers or fish stores?
I have one distributor out here that I sell to.
So throughout these 30 or so years...
I don't need to ship anymore. Shipping is an incredible pain. Mm-hmm. Too much work. Not only that, going to LAX takes me forever. Yep. It's like risking my life to get there. But then, I was shipping out of Hollywood Burbank, which is a little easier. But it's still a real pain to bag everything for shipping. So I'd rather just deliver a carload of fish to a guy that will buy it all and done with. I sell it really cheap because I sell in volume. Yep. I don't sell, 6, 12, 25 at a time. I want to sell 100 lots.
So in the past, did you used to sell direct to
I never really sold to hobbyists because that's the biggest pain in the rear end. And then I was selling stores. They all think they're God's gift to the fish world. Yeah. They don't want to deal with stores. So you learn as you go along what you want to do. If you want to do, right now the big thing, of course, is social media, the internet. But I'm old and I'm not good on that with that stuff. I don't do the social media stuff.
For sure. Well, we appreciate you showing it off to us because this is something that's like it's a hidden gem.
Well, I mean, it is because I don't advertise. I go to the Coast meeting and I don't promote my so-called business. Yeah. I'm just a simple hobbyist. Leave me alone. Otherwise, you have a million people spend 3 hours here and go, well, I'll take a pair of these. Yeah. And make sure they're holding and make sure they're ready to spawn. I don't do that anymore.
For sure.
It's a real pain. That's a nice fish. Flonicar Turkish.
Oh yeah, nice Turkish
Yeah.
peacock.
Yeah, very nice fish.
I think I saw a Geophagus
Redhead
topos poking out.
Hoppos, correct. I have some more growing up here.
Oh, very
I got a
nice.
really nice male with a lot of blue in them,
Yeah.
right there. And these are the Rampochromis essox.
Okay.
Down here is Red Terror,
Ooh.
all white lip Madoka.
White lip Mendoza. Yeah, I saw you had a big group of
I got a
adults.
big breeding group, yes. I got quite a few of these.
I love those.
You're familiar with Phenocylus gazelle? There's three of them, the white lip, the
Star Sapphire.
Star Sapphire, and then there's
Deepwater.
one called Gazelle.
Okay.
That one I think is my favorite because it's got more green in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't find that very often.
I got a little female holding,
Yeah.
which I'm pretty excited about because that fish has kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
And who had a really nice one, I don't know if you're familiar with Imperial Tropicals.
Oh yeah.
He had one on a video that just knocked your socks off. And I
Yeah.
said, I got to get that fish.
I've done
Very
the
nice.
same thing from them many times. I just got a Dovi from
Yeah.
them.
Oh, Dovi. Oh,
A big tank dedicated to just
I was
one.
breeding the red Dovi. You can't grow the fry up. They just kill each other.
Oh yeah.
They need a lot of space.
Yep. Very aggressive.
Even right here, even these stupid labiatas. I mean, all they do is kill each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to grow them up.
So these guys are spawning right now.
Yeah. See, she gets wiggling around in her mouth.
You get to see it live on camera. It's pretty cool. So now we're in the longer section of the house. You can see all the way to the back where the tanks just keep going. But some really cool stuff right here. These are some really good looking convicts.
Those are actually Honduran red points.
Oh, wow.
These are actually introduced to the hobby by a gentleman by the name of Rusty Wessel.
Yeah.
And he came and spoke at the club, and he actually brought me some. I was pretty excited about that because this fish has been hybridized and messed up, and now I got a nice pure strain.
Yeah, I love that. Plus, you could see in the cave they have
Yeah,
some pride
well,
in
they
there.
breed just like convicts.
Yeah.
But once you put the label convict on them, no one wants them anymore. It's like calling something tilapia.
Yep.
No one wants it.
So another example of something that looks common but is actually not.
This is a different strain, or a more orange strain of so-called electric yellow.
So they have better coloration in their fins.
Much better coloration, and then they have the blue in the dorsal and a little blue in the face.
Yep.
As you can see, the dominant male right here.
Yeah, that guy is a stunner.
I got lots of fry. This is a fish that he had a short time on the list, and they vanished.
Yep.
So it's a good fish to keep going. Keep it going.
And then behind me, I saw some beautiful angelfish.
These are like the Peruvian, the Filipino blue.
Yep.
Yeah, impulse buy. Something I really shouldn't be dealing with. Little red peacocks.
Yeah.
Even have bikers down
Yeah,
there.
really nice. And then over
Yeah.
here, the
The
Guanacara.
Guanacara species Gayi.
Okay. Have they been breeding for you yet?
Yes. I spawned these, and I have two different types. This was sold to me as the blue, but I have one that's really nice. It's called the red spot.
Yep.
That one is really nice. I got those a while back. I bred those.
Then over here, these Lake Tanganyikan.
These are Cyprichromis microlepidotus, the Cariza, and these will produce a blackfish. So you got to line breed them and pick out the blackest male with your females and try to produce more blacks.
Yep.
And they're going to go in here eventually. I just set this tank up. Tank's empty.
Actually, that's a good question. How big are most of these tanks?
Most of them are 60s.
Okay.
These are like 75s. That's a 200.
Oh yeah, those are big tanks over there. It's
Those are
crazy.
big tanks, yes.
Awesome.
And these are Cyprichromis leptosoma catumba.
Yep.
And here's some gold ocellatus,
Oh yeah, some shell dwellers,
shell dwellers.
feisty little guys.
Yes, little pit bulls.
A really
And
big.
that's the labiatus.
Yeah. Red devil.
Red devil. No, there's two types. Labiatus and citronellum. The labiatus lips and the one without the lips. This is supposedly with the lips.
Yeah, that's something that's like with red devils and Midas.
Now,
you
what is
never
a
know.
Midas? That's a good
Yeah.
question. Try to figure that one out.
Yep. And
What is a
sometimes
Midas?
they're inbred and hybridized.
Right. They
But
could
yeah,
be
these are
anything.
beautiful though.
Correct.
So do you breed these guys as well?
I have, yeah, the fry over there are these.
Oh, yeah.
The ones over there say they're working their way down, killing
Yep.
each other. Yeah, that's these. These have worked their way down to a pair. There's one night Wentz in there. They
The
keep him
macaw?
busy. Yeah, the macaw, which I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Here's some super convicts.
Oh, yeah.
These are
Really interesting change.
And this is something, another impulse buy. Little pink belly side neck. Just what I need.
Would these work in an outdoor pond?
No, they're tropical.
Okay.
These are tropical. So they're a little easier to breed because they don't need to be hibernated.
Yep. So then the big tanks over here.
The big tanks I have Carpentas.
Beautiful. Electric blue Texas? Or just
No,
Carpentas?
no, Texas, we don't use, Texas is white.
Yeah.
I don't know why they call them green Texas, Texas.
Yeah.
But they're Carpentas.
The common names are all over the place.
They're
with
all
you
over the
guys.
place, and they just mix them up. This is supposedly, you have to have, if true fish has a locale name. This is supposedly Escondido,
Yep.
Carpentas. So,
These
yeah.
guys
They
have
call
the
it
best
green
color.
Texas, you don't know what it is then. It could be anything. These are, what are these? I forgot what they're called.
Fenestratus?
No, they're not Fenestratus.
Harwigi?
Marginatus? I can't think of what it's called right now. It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
More compresses fry. And then I got a trio of Geophagus wine miller in there.
Love those. And down here, look
Down there is just a future breeding group of Bifasciatum
Yeah.
from Rio Chacamontes. Very nice strain. Came from Cichlid of the America.
Oh, yeah.
He had a beautiful strain.
Yeah.
Beautiful strain.
That male is
Yeah.
fired up. Looks great.
Yeah, I was breeding a lot of these. Too many. But a spectacular fish.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
What are these?
Those are gold head compressiceps with some powder blue ventralis.
Okay.
And then, of course, Grisheki. I have these in albino also.
Yep. And this is just one of the fish houses,
This is the smaller one.
the smaller section. So we're going into the bigger part of the house.
Yeah, these get like 4 foot tall. More impulse buying right here.
Oh, yeah. Got turtles.
The diamondback turpins, the albino red hair sliders.
Man, they're beautiful.
That one is nice.
Yeah.
The others, so-so. But these need to be hibernated. I'm thinking of enclosing this, putting them outside.
Okay. Some more Tanganikans in here.
The Margwents, blue tip Pichardii.
Awesome. All right. You want to
Yeah.
go into the second part here?
Second part, part 2. And this is being rebuilt. I'm in the process of doing this.
Wow. I see some awesome.
Red Terror. Yeah, there's some nice red terror in there.
A big male and female.
There's
That's like the most beautiful I've seen.
three females and a monster male.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That
they
is
shouldn't be
awesome.
skittish.
So those bred, we saw their fry. And
I got like 3 tanks of fry from them, and here's another future pair coming up.
Would you say the fry that we saw at CK Fish World were yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the previous video, those were John's fish.
Yeah. Probably. But those are Bifasciatum
Yep.
fry. Let me tell you, see if you know your fish. What are these?
Oh, you're
This
gonna
is your
gonna quiz
first,
me.
Your first test.
All right. Well, obviously we have Frontosa, but these more rare guys.
No, that's not Frontosa.
What?
That's Tretocephalus.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So you stumped me many times already.
No,
today.
no, I didn't. This is Dankilia secorte.
Okay.
These live in the desert. They can handle heat over 100 degrees.
Which
That's why
desert?
they're so high. Ethiopia.
Okay. So they're
That's why they're
African
so-
cichlids still technically.
Technically, yeah. Super hyper.
Do these guys as well withstand those high temperatures?
No,
Okay.
those are out of Lake Tanganyika.
So you're keeping them.
Well, there's one. This one's wild, and I had one that I figured if it's going to be a pair, rolling the dice. It's really hard to tell, but they haven't killed each other yet.
So if you're a hobbyist that buys these, would you recommend really high heat?
For these, no. It doesn't matter. These are spawning like crazy.
So they just can withstand the
They can withstand it.
Okay.
You know, that's like finding fish under the ice and saying, well, I'm going to freeze my fish room. Yeah. And these are the Guyana cars species, but they're super skittish because they see 3 silhouettes.
Oh, yeah. You good size
Those
group?
are red emperors or fire haps. This is the glorified red empress.
Yeah, you can see one that's
It's
got
been
a
line
good color.
bred. Yeah, they're really nice.
And then up here?
Up there's just a mixture of garbage. Yes, this is a red empress with albino genes in it. Some red peacocks, eureka, electric blue, flame tail, a little bit of everything in there. Same here. This is about ready to be thinned out. This is where I grow up pairs and set them up.
Kind of a catch-all until you know exactly where you
Correct.
want them to go.
Then I pull out and I set them up somewhere to breed. And then I also breed my Synodontis petricola in this stage.
Oh, I love those guys.
When I do breed them.
I have a couple that are probably the oldest in my fish room right now.
These would breed for me tomorrow if I wanted them to.
And then another one, I keep saying I love all these fish, but all-time favorite of mine is chocolate.
Your chocolate, temporalis.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are wild.
And the Nagara flametail is probably my favorite peacock.
That's a Florida. My favorite is Luanda,
Oh,
red top Luanda. That's my most difficult one.
So the chocolate cichlids, have they bred for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A good size on them.
They're really nice, a nice strain.
Yeah. They're one of the more underrated cichlids in my opinion.
Yeah, they're very nice. They're not not that bad either, aggression-wise.
Yep. And they
compared
still
to
have
some of the
that
other monsters.
kind of like Oscar-type personality.
Yeah. Yeah. Oscars, I think, are meaner.
Yeah.
More aggressive, I should say. And
So-
here we have some more, there's some Labiotropheus growing up.
I'm going to have to put some of these species names in text so that everyone can
That's,
follow.
This is a Capitochromis azurius called no spot green face.
Okay.
That's pretty rare.
Yeah, fired up.
Grisheki. And here are the albino Grisheki and the regular Grisheki. This is Autopharynx tetraspilus, or the yellow Maloto. Green terror.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Did you know that they come with a white trim in the tail and an orange trim from the same spawn?
Really? So this is
A
another
service
one.
buddy of mine pulled these out of one of his customers' tanks as fry and gave me the fry,
Yeah.
and I grew them up, and there's 2 different males.
Yeah, this is another one, another mix
Beautiful
of
animal.
species that has them with the common names. It just gets confusing
Yeah,
because people call
Rivelatas.
like 4 different species a green terror.
Yeah,
The true green terrier, or the Salisbury, right?
yeah. It's not. I don't think it's as good looking, but it's
Same. The Rivelatas kind of looks
it's
better.
another. Yeah, it's okay.
But yeah, these are beautiful. And then what did you say these guys were?
Those are. I don't know if you know the story behind electric blue Jack Dempsey's.
I would love to hear it.
It was a guy in Argentina pulled a sport out of a spawn, and those were the electric blue, and he grew them up. And all of the electric blue Dempseys in the hobby came from that one guy and his one spawn.
Wow.
With a handful of fish. And he started breeding them like crazy
I bet.
in Argentina, and he was selling them to Tangled Up in Cichlids, Jeff Rapps.
Yep.
And he was getting really, really good money for them because he had an exclusive until everybody else started doing it. So they start producing platinum electric blue Jack Dempseys. And that's what these are.
Wow.
And I just kept these, and I'm going to grow them up. But they do eventually get some blue in them, like you can see the bigger one, starting to get blue spangling. But you know, you can't breed them to each other because they're garbage. They're too inbred.
So just to get your opinion on the electric blue Dempseys, they kind of have a reputation of being weaker than the other electric
They're
variants.
something that shouldn't have survived. It's like albinos don't make it in nature because they're too weak. These would have never made it in nature, but since they were in a hatchery, they pull that few fry out and start breeding them to each other. But I was cranking these for a while, and then they just turn to garbage. They start getting frog faces, Popeye, just I couldn't grow them up. I just gave up on them. I said, I'm done with these.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Too much work. Here's the guy on the car fry.
Oh yeah, man. There's some of these I just want to like take home with me.
Yeah.
Like a group of those.
A lot of car Walteri.
I have a male Walteri. They're an underrated peacock.
Walteri, is it that quality?
No.
No.
Mine's bigger, but not that quality color.
You know why this is quality? Because it came from Steve Lundblad. It's the real deal. Yeah. And Eric is bringing me a tank for here Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, so these tanks are just going to be...
These are in the process I'm still plumbing them. I'm still doing the drains. This is all going to be done in another week or two.
Before we check out the other aisle back there, you were talking about your water and filtration system, how it gets in here.
Yeah.
Helps you with maintaining the water quality, is that right?
Yeah. All I got to do is turn a valve on. If I can show you. Each one of these tanks has a fill up. At the end of the row, I turn on a valve and it starts filling all these tanks. They overflow with the bulkheads and it goes out to my fruit trees.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like a constant water change
like a flush.
system.
No, I only do it when I want to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't run continuously because at this volume it would cost me a fortune in gas and water, and I just do it when it needs to be done.
So you heat and ventilate the room, and then you have a very efficient water system to help maintain the quality of all these things.
When I turn on my water into these tanks, the fish love it. They swim into the stream.
Yeah.
They don't swim away and hide in a corner and go, oh my God, what's coming into our tank? Like they do with tap water.
When you bring that fresh water in, do you notice it triggers more spawning?
Yes, of course.
Yep.
And it triggers aggression also.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people will let their tanks stay dirty because the fish don't kill each other. All they're doing is focusing on trying to stay alive. But once you do a water change, all hell breaks loose because all of a sudden it's like the rainy season and let's all perk up and kill each other and breed.
Would you say that's kind of like your biggest trigger point for getting something to breed?
Well, feeding.
What would you recommend?
I think the biggest problem with most hobbyists is they feed their fish too much.
For sure.
Okay. Because years ago I used to get shipments in from a collector in Africa. He used to do shipments to me maybe 3-4 times a year. And he would have to come back to maintain his status with the U.S. And he'd always complain that the fish are too big here. He says, they don't get this big in the wild. And if you notice hobbyists, what do they do when they see their fish? They feed them. Feed them. Okay, how I trigger fish to spawn is I will starve them for a while.
How long's a while?
3-4 weeks.
Wow.
Not starve them, but let's say
Lightly feeding.
lightly feeding them. And then all of a sudden I'll just crank up the food. They get all, that's stimulation.
Yep.
And of course a water change.
Any type of food or like frozen or anything
these
works?
aren't that particular. Food is food. Fish are opportunist feeders. They'll eat a tin can if you throw it in the water. I mean, they'll eat whatever you throw in there, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. And they'll get used to any food. You know, they say like blackworms will kill trophies. The biggest trophy I've ever had was from a guy that was buying a pound of blackworms from me a week, feeding his trophy as blackworms.
Yeah.
They get used to it. It's when you take blackworms and throw them in big giant handful and they're not used to the bacteria and the blackworms, then you'll bloat them.
For sure. Very cool. Well, do you want to check out the other
Sure.
aisle back here?
No, I've seen it, but I'll take you over there.
All right, so I think this is the last aisle you got
Last
here.
aisle.
All right, so anything super interesting here? I mean,
Anything
everything
super
is,
interesting?
Everything is, really.
Well, one of my favorite groups is this group, the powder blue ventralis.
Yeah, I love these.
It's a really nice Tanganyikan.
Do they have a common name? Or is it featherfin?
Featherfin, yeah, but there's lots of different feather fins.
Sure.
It's a ventralis.
Gotcha.
See, they have the little dots on the end of the fin, so when the females lay their eggs, they stick those in with the eggs, And the female goes to pick up those eggs on their fins, and that's when he fertilizes them. He tricks them. Yes.
That is very cool.
But these breed fairly regularly. They're not that aggressive either. As you can see, there's several males in there.
Geophagus, topo fry.
Yeah, yeah.
More green terror fry.
This rack I'm going to tear out eventually too and do pallet racks. It's done. This is the species rainbow from Crater Lake in Africa. It looks like a Victorian. Very nice.
Yeah.
It's on the CARES program.
Oh yeah, it does look like I see the male back there.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice
Yeah.
fish, right? They don't breed like regular Victorians though. Victorians breed like flies. These don't.
So you have to be on your level to be able to get them to breed.
I don't know what the key is. I've been feeding them earthworms and everything.
Awesome.
Hey,
a lot of guys.
that's actually a hybrid, which shouldn't be here. I should have taped the front of that tank. That's a hybrid between a phenocylus and a Taiwan reef.
Okay.
But I don't sell any females. I only sell males and people that want color in their tanks.
Yeah.
So I won't sell a female. And I'm done breeding them. It happened.
And here is super interesting color on these.
That is Cyphochromis leptosoma catumba. My
Catumba.
opinion, the best Cyphochromis. Best looking Cyphochromis.
So the coloration
They're all
is
different.
very different. Yeah.
All different. There's some that are solid yellow. There are some that are half and half. I've sorted this tank to where it's only the males I like. And another one of my favorite fish is the Flavipinus. And these are biparental mouthrooters. They'll switch the eggs from male to female. Fairly peaceful little fish
Wow.
from Nazarlac. And these are the, look at these, solid yellow. Cyphochromis catumba. These are solid yellow, little female holding there.
Yes. So different in coloration than
Isn't
these.
that amazing? Solid yellow like that? Well, that's what I'm working for. There's the dominant male. He's some yellow.
Yeah. And then miss these guys. What are these?
Gold sex.
Okay.
Neolamprologus sex fasciatus,
Yep.
the gold variety. And then the German strain of electric blue. Super icebergs.
Love it. Then going down here.
See, this all used to be small tanks up here, and I did this. I used to have 36 20s up here. I got rid of all those and got these 60s. Here's a very common fish that disappeared out of the hobby.
Keyhole.
Yep.
I saw one of those at CK Fish World.
Oh, did you? Yeah, that's probably where they came from. Yeah, that's probably where they came from. Although I bought them at another store. This is the bathybates, tilapia.
Very cool.
Pretty rare.
Yeah, you have
I just
some
got these.
extremely rare cichlid
Albino
species.
Taiwan reef, the Leviticromus red top black mamba. And then we
Ooh.
get albino Taiwan reef.
Those are
And then my
awesome.
Eureka.
Ooh. Yeah, the albino reefs and that Eureka are like stunning colors.
Yeah.
And down here,
Down here is Ramphicromus macrothomus.
those are really unique.
I've had those for a million years, and I only have a pair left. And I got one small spawn out of them.
What location are these guys?
Malawi.
Malawi?
They're called the Malawian barracuda.
Oh yeah, duh.
They got teeth. You gotta be careful when you're stripping, or you'll cut your finger.
Yeah. Those are probably the best looking
They
barracudas I've
are
seen.
one of the bigger ones. The S-Hawks are smaller. This one's one of the bigger ones. And here's an incredibly rare fish. Let me see if you can identify this one.
Hey, finally one I know.
What am I doing with these?
I love that you still have them though.
No, I think they're awesome. Look at them.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to beat.
Oh yeah.
Too bad it's called an Oscar. It's like calling it a convict, but it's an awesome fish.
Yep. Another one I just wish I could take one home with me.
Yeah, they're very nice. Labiotrobius cholumba, or oche.
Yep.
They start out purplish blue and then they turn bright orange. I think this is margarita half. And some of my albino eureka.
Albino Eurekas. Love
Very,
them.
very nice strain. I don't know if you noticed the male over there. Very, very nice. Nice little Electric yellows, nice and orange. That's the fish that started all the fish in Lake Malawi right there. When the lakes dried up a million years ago, this fish survived, and virtually every species in the lake came from that fish.
What is that?
Calypterus.
Okay.
Ed Konings gives a talk on that. It's amazing. He talks about the lakes actually drying up, and that fish survived, and
Wow.
virtually every fish came from that. These are yellow calvus.
I've noticed you seem to love the calvus. Is that just something that you're
That
into right
is, yeah, that's one of my favorite fish.
now? Yeah.
I've actually hybridized a pair, seeing if they would cross, and they will.
Wow.
A calvus and compresses will hybridize.
And then more turtles over here.
And those are female red ear sliders with the albino gene. This is incredibly rare. It's called Markley eye, something like that.
So those are
It's like
buffalo
a,
heads?
it's kind of, well, it's kind of like the Congoensis, but this one gets better finish and a nuchal hump at a younger age.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
the
is,
tail fins are really wide.
They're very unique. These were sold to me as a Tanganyikan of some sort, which completely wrong, and I got them home and I'm going, what is this? But I'm really happy. They're really nice fish. Beautiful finish.
Are
Very nice fish.
Are those over there different species?
These are called Irving eye,
Okay.
or the blue lip buffalo head. That's also a very rare fish. I don't have a female for it. Igascar,
Wow.
pretty rare Malawi fish. And I use the silver dollars as dithers.
Yeah. One other question just in general about all the tanks. So looks like it's mostly sponge and fluidized filters.
Sponge, those are just conversation piece. I don't think they really do much. But they're cool to look at. It looks like it's doing a lot.
Yeah.
But within a year, that air actually eats the top away. And all those stupid K1 comes flying out of there. So I discovered that.
But definitely the most efficient.
Yes, the
Economical.
problem with sponge filters is you don't know when they're bad.
Yeah.
So you got to really keep an eye on them because they just keep bubbling no matter what. With the box filters, I can see when they need to be changed.
Yep.
So that makes it a little easier, but the sponge filters is also better for baby brine shrimp.
True. And so you have just, I'm assuming, one really big air pump, central
Yeah,
air
the
pump.
one horse blower,
Oh.
that was driving us crazy in the other room. That's why we're staying in here. No, that thing is horribly noisy. There's a red cap Lithernops, and this is what I bought is red cheek gay, but they're not red cheek gay.
I've heard that the Lethrinops, they are best in a breeding group like this and maybe
Well,
not in a community.
they don't have a territory. They're an open water fish, so when you put them in with fish that have a territory,
They get
they
picked
want
on.
to chase them away, they're weak.
Yeah.
They need to be by themselves, most open water fish,
Yep.
because they don't know how to defend the territory. He's not fired up at all, but this can be a very, very nice fish.
Yeah. Well, I am blown away by the
By the
quality of the fish and the rare cichlid species. I've never seen so many that I didn't even know of. And I feel like I pretty much know a lot of the cichlids, but I was just blown away by the sheer number and
The volume of nonsense.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
so
lot of work. Even being retired, this is, the work is horrendous.
yeah. So how
You
much
know?
longer do you think you'll have?
As long as I can still move, crawl in here. But and not only that, the building's falling apart, everything is. The tanks are, you see how I fixed the tanks?
Yeah.
The seams go in them.
Yeah.
The silicone eventually, after 30, 40 years, the silicone just goes.
Yeah.
So I got to create new seams. So I spend my life maintenance and fixing tanks.
You said the building was created in the 90s?
Yeah, probably 80, 89 maybe.
So the wear and tear of heavy use with
Well, not only that, I
so many
bought cheap
things.
tanks.
Yeah.
I didn't really buy quality tanks. I was buying tanks from guys who were giving me really super good deals.
Yeah.
There was a company, they're retired so I can say it now, called Fujimoto, that made tanks really cheap. All these tanks are Fujimoto tanks, but they're known for their quality being
Yeah.
But excuse I use is a hatchery. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, but for the house, I wouldn't do it for the house. But for a hatchery, who cares?
And maybe those tanks would get normal hobbyists use this 2 or 3 years or something.
Yeah.
They might be okay, but when you're using them for
Well,
decades,
glass tanks. There are some quality glass companies out there, like Elite and Advanced Aqua Tanks. They make good quality tanks.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, there's a life expectancy on silicone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why glass tanks are fairly cheap when you go to sell them, because you don't know how old they are.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, they're going in a hatchery. Like Eric's going to bring me one Sunday. Who knows what shape that thing's going to be in,
Yeah.
you know? But the price was right. Free.
Can't beat free.
You can't beat that. So I went that route.
Awesome. Truly impressive. All right, so we definitely couldn't finish this whole tour without checking out this amazing pond. Tell us a little bit about this.
This was an amazing venture that my buddy that I've known many, many, many years, Mr. Eric Cichlid of the Pond Diggers.
Our mutual friend.
He came to visit me to get some fish. And my wife comes running out and says, "Eric, would you build us a pond?" And Eric looks at me and looks at her, and I go, "I guess she's serious." And he actually built us a pond. And I'm very, very happy with it.
And so I love how deep this pond is.
Yes. Well, you see the little building he built there? The little flap?
Yeah.
When these guys get paranoid or crane lands or ducks land, they all go in there.
Okay.
You'll come in the morning, they'll all be in there.
And
Yeah,
they're coming up.
that saves them.
Coming up to us now wanting some food probably.
Yeah, because this is where I feed them.
So what are the fish in here again?
There's some megalotus or long-eared sunfish. There's one chantito from Uruguay. If I can find, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
There he is. That's the chantito.
So that is a cichlid that can tolerate colder temperatures.
Eric is breeding them in Cherry Valley where it snows.
So they can even survive if it ices over a little bit, right?
Yeah, I had them in vats here with ice on top.
Do you think they would do okay in Chicago?
Yeah.
So if I got those for my backyard koi
Yeah.
pond, it's colder for longer, but
As long as it doesn't freeze solid. And everything else is just goldfish, shabunkin and whatever. But anyway, then some of these are hybrids from koi and goldfish that spawned last year or 2 years ago. And then a lot of little mosquito fish. This room drains to these 2 avocado trees. There's one drain right here and one drain right here. As you can see, it's wet.
yeah.
2 drains here. Edible palm tree. This is called a pindo palm. They make jelly out of it. We're in the fish. Let's not talk about my stupid palms.
But no, that's, so you got the pond here in an amazing backyard. You're into some really unique plants, avocado, like everything back here. And you said the water draining from the fish.
Feed the trees.
So you
No
have
water
an
goes
awesome
to waste.
ecosystem.
It all goes right back to nature, and it drains wonderfully.
Yep.
It just doesn't create a swamp anywhere. It just drains really well because I do a lot of mulching.
Well, I said earlier that you're just taking a hobby or taking your hobby and interest to the highest level, where whether it's the fish or the plants, your backyard, it's incredible.
Yeah, I used to really heavily be in the gardening.
Yeah.
This all used to be garden in the back. I have a big Troy-built rototiller, and I used to have all these vegetables until I built this. Now I have time for nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, everything's been truly impressive, and we really appreciate your hospitality
Anytime.
and showing us something
You need to
that
come back when
truly.
those big tanks are up and running.
I'll definitely. I'll take you up on that. So thanks again,
Yeah.
John.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate everything.
You're welcome.
And thank you guys for watching.